Today, one of Mayor Eric Adams' closest allies and former top advisor Ingrid Lewis-Martin is facing new bribery conspiracy charges.
She's accused of steering city contracts, including for asylum seeker shelters, fast-tracking permits, influencing the Department of Transportation, and speeding up development contracts in exchange for favors. Alice Gaynor was in the courtroom as she and several other associates faced a judge today. Alice?
Well, you may remember back in December, Ingrid Lewis-Martin was charged for an alleged bribery conspiracy that totaled more than $100,000. Well, now she's additionally being accused of netting more than $75,000 in alleged bribes and other benefits. Lewis-Martin and more than a handful of co-defendants were arraigned this morning on the charges after 4 new indictments were unsealed. Ingrid Lewis-Martin, followed by her son and other co-defendants, entered the courtroom in handcuffs. During their arraignments, all entered pleas of not guilty. It's alleged that from 2022 to 2024, when Lewis-Martin was chief advisor to Mayor Eric Adams, she used her influence to engage in a series of bribery schemes. Lewis-Martin is accused of directing the city to secure lease agreements for asylum seeker shelters to developer Tianji Lee's preferred property owners. As part of that agreement, Lee would allegedly receive 10% from the contract. Lewis-Martin allegedly called Jesse Hamilton, the deputy commissioner for real estate services, and said, quote, "I need those done. Whatever site TJ wants, I need him to get them because that's our expletive people." At one point, Lee allegedly wired $50,000 to Lewis-Martin's son, Glenn Martin's business account. She also allegedly helped expedite approvals by the FDNY and Department of Buildings for Lee's karaoke club in Queens. Lewis-Martin is also accused of interfering with the DOT's plan to redesign and install protected bike lanes on McGinnis Boulevard in Brooklyn because it was a road used by the company Broadway Stages. Its owners, Gina Argento and Anthony Argento, allegedly conspired with Lewis-Martin to change the plan. Lewis-Martin allegedly texted Gina Argento, "They can kiss my expletive," in response to a community-led campaign flyer about making the roadway safe. In exchange, the Argentos allegedly transferred $2,500 to Lewis-Martin's bank account, provided more than $10,000 in catering for a Gracie Mansion event, and secured a small role for Lewis-Martin on the TV series Godfather of Harlem. Other accusations include Lewis-Martin, her son, and Hamilton conspiring to push projects in Brooklyn, the Bronx, and Queens for real estate developer Yashil Landau, who in exchange allegedly paid for more than $5,000 of renovations at a property Lewis-Martin owns and at Hamilton's residence. All defendants were released and declined comment when leaving, but an attorney for the Argentos said,
"We're going to beat the case." That's all.
And an attorney for Jesse Hamilton said Hamilton has made the decision to resign to focus on fighting the allegations.
And I ask everybody in the public to reserve judgment till we let the truth come out.
An attorney for Ingrid Lewis-Martin says, quote, her only so-called offense was fulfilling her duty, helping fellow citizens navigate the city's outdated and often overwhelming bureaucracy. At no point did she receive a single dollar or any personal benefit for her assistance. The next court date for all defendants is September 10th. Christine and Jessica.
Thank you, Alice.
Now, Mayor Adams is insisting he's not accused of anything in this new round of indictments, but in the court of public opinion, he will apparently not escape unscathed.
So as you can see, sitting next to me, political reporter Marcia Kramer joins us to talk more about this part of the story, and it's very well connected, Marcia.
Yes, Christine and Jess, Mayor Adams' opponents are certainly trying to make political hay out of the latest indictments. But that may not be the worst of it, because there is much in the new case to remind voters of the corruption charges against the mayor that were ordered dropped by the White House. And it's certainly not an onslaught that the mayor needed right now.
New Yorkers are paying the price as another flurry of indictments continue to erode their trust in our democracy. Our city deserves to have a mayor who spends time with their constituents, not stuck in courtrooms.
There seems to be this never-ending series of government corruption. It's sad, it's embarrassing, it's depressing. And then you wonder why people don't believe in government.
What it says about Eric Adams is he surrounds himself with cronies who are corrupt. People are saying, why are you bringing them back? Oh, they're friends. Yeah, friends who like to put their beak in the trough. They're hopelessly corrupt.
It's no surprise that the people who want to replace Eric Adams smell new blood and are on the attack. But for many, the indictment of Ingrid Lewis-Martin, one of the mayor's closest advisors, reminds them of the mayor's past legal problems and is like deja vu all over again. Consider this. One of the charges against Lewis-Martin is that she allegedly helped fast-track getting the Department of Buildings and the fire department to approve permits for the opening of a Queens karaoke bar owned by a developer who reportedly wired money to her son. Before the White House interceded, Adams was charged with pressuring the fire department to allow the Turkish embassy to open despite safety concerns in exchange for luxury travel. Political experts say the timing of this indictment couldn't be worse for a mayor trying to stay in office.
In the court of public opinion, this is disastrous. And quite frankly, it's almost as if the mayor is trying to go into a new career after this, writing the next trilogy for The Godfather, 4, 5, and 6.
You have a constant drumbeat, and this is not something that a campaign can sustain at all. And the mayor, don't forget, is way down in the polls to begin with and going down.
A campaign spokesman insists that Adams has done nothing wrong, quote, and his focus remains on serving the 8.5 million New Yorkers by making our city safer and more affordable every day. And to show he's still on the job, the Adams administration sent a letter today to an immigration judge supporting a bail hearing for a 20-year-old high school student who was detained by ICE agents while attending a routine court hearing.
But when do those voices grow so loud that he can't ignore it anymore?
Well,
It's a big question.
I think, and also you're going to ask whether, you know, his contributions fall and his polls fall.
Absolutely. Marcia, Kramer, thank you. She was one of Mayor Adams' closest advisors. But tonight, Ingrid Lewis-Martin faces new corruption charges, accused of netting $75,000 in alleged bribes. Alice Gaynor was there as she and several others faced a judge.
All defendants entered in handcuffs, pleaded not guilty to the charges, then left without commenting, letting their attorneys do the talking for them.
We're gonna beat the case. That's all.
And I ask everybody in the public to reserve judgment till we let the truth come out.
4 indictments were unsealed Thursday, alleging that from 2022 to 2024, when Ingrid Lewis-Martin was chief advisor to Mayor Eric Adams, she used her influence to engage in a series of bribery schemes, allegedly directing the city to secure lease agreements for asylum seeker shelters to developer Tianji Lee's preferred property owners, calling Jesse Hamilton, the deputy commissioner for real estate services, allegedly telling him, quote, "I need those done. Whatever site TJ wants, I need him to get them because that's our expletive people." Lee allegedly gave her son money. Lewis-Martin is also accused of interfering with the DOT's plan to redesign and install protected bike lanes on McGinnis Boulevard in Brooklyn because it was a road used by the company Broadway Stages. Its owners, Gina Argento and Anthony Argento, allegedly conspired with Lewis-Martin to change the plan, allegedly paying her and getting her a role on a TV show. Other accusations include Lewis-Martin, her son, and Hamilton conspiring to push projects in Brooklyn, the Bronx, and Queens for real estate developer Yechiel Landau, who in exchange allegedly paid for renovations at a property Lewis-Martin owns and at Hamilton's residence. An attorney for Ingrid Lewis-Martin says, quote, "Her only so-called offense was fulfilling her duty, helping fellow citizens navigate the city's outdated and often overwhelming bureaucracy. At no point did she receive a single dollar or any personal benefit for her assistance." The next court date for all defendants is September 10th. By Thursday afternoon, an attorney for Jesse Hamilton said he had resigned his position to focus on fighting the allegations. Alice Gaynor, CBS News, New York.
Let's talk about the political fallout now. So Marcia Kramer is here with me. So the mayor not charged, not mentioned in any of these new indictments. But can he argue that he really knew nothing about this?
Well, you know, there's several points to consider. First of all, it reminds people of the corruption charges that were brought against him several months ago that were dropped by the White House. Secondly, the charges in the indictment sort of mirror what happened in those charges. For example, Ingrid Lewis-Martin is charged with trying to use the fire department, the buildings department, to get permits for a karaoke bar. The mayor was charged with using the fire department to get permits for the Turkish embassy, so it sort of mirrors it and it makes people remember again.
What about his opponents? This is a perfect opportunity for them to jump into this conversation.
Well, they have jumped into the conversation, but you have to understand something. It's more than just the political people taking a shot. It reminds people that of the charges, and it also puts pressure on him to think about whether he should run. I mean, he's not going to drop out right now, but think about this. What if, donations stop? What if his poll numbers drop?
Which are already low.
And what if supporters start to say, well, maybe we're not going to support him? So, another shoe has to drop in this race.
Okay, Marcia Kramer, thank you.
So much.
A volunteer for Mayor Adams' re-election campaign is suspended after allegedly giving cash in a bag of potato chips to a journalist. Reporter Katie Honan of the city publication says that a few $100s was inside of a chip bag that was given to her yesterday by Winnie Greco. Now, Greco previously served as director of Asian Affairs for Mayor Adams. Her attorney says that there was nothing nefarious about this gesture. The Department of Investigation, though, was contacted and the bag of money turned over.
I saw this red envelope, which I sort of hoped would be some sort of tip, not monetary tip, but information about the mayor or something, what every reporter wants. And then I saw it was money.
This giving of money is typical in Asian culture. She feels that this is just an honest mistake.
Now, a spokesperson for the mayor's campaign says Greco holds no position in this campaign and has been suspended from all volunteer campaign-related activities.